old GotBot give you some Friday advice. Go big or go home. And on Friday, we're going to go big, real big with this guy. This is the box for the, I'm going to say selects. I don't know if it selects, but it's definitely legacy. Titan class blackzarak. And he is going to be our focus. This big bad mamma jamma. He's going to be our focus this time around in the latest GotBot True Review. Hey all, welcome back to the channel. I'm your host, your most humble of hosts, Dennis Moulton, aka GotBot. As always, man, please like, comment, share, of course, subscribe, and while you're at it, light 'em up, baby. Hit that notification bell, please. It helps me out a ton. Let you know when content of all sorts goes up here on the channel. Check out Machinery of Man, the Everything Factor, all of the groups that I'm either a mod or an admin for, as well as all of my social media links. All of that in the description down below. Also in the description down below. And if you're in a position to help the channel to grow, you can use the donate link. You can see... you can check us out on Patreon. You can see what we have to offer to you through Spring, or of course, you can hit the join button right here on YouTube anytime and become a channel member. And this is the box for blackzarak. I wasn't initially sold on getting blackzarak because I wasn't super tied to it, but I had my reasons for doing so, and like there's a number of reasons for doing so. Am I happy about it? Am I happy with him? Well, we're about to find out when we take a closer look at him and my ultimate Decepticon base. We're going to look at him, we're going to look at the base. But we're not going to look at the transformations. We've already seen that with Scorponok. So without any further ado, I think I've given all of the caveats there. Without any further ado, how about we head over to the table and take a closer look at this guy. And so we take a look today at this gigantic box. It is probably the most boring Titan box I've seen. I assume it's a Generation Selects one. But, of course, this is the box for Legacy Titan class blackzarak. I said some time ago, I said, look, I said Scorponok is going to be my swan song to Titan class. And though I didn't intend it, I ended up with the Arc. And truth be told, for Season 4 of Universal Collision, blackzarak would be a very, very nice fit. So I did get blackzarak. Now I've heard that the Titan class price in the US is also going up. Traditionally it was $159.99. That's jumping to $189.99 US. Honestly, like, I'm priced out. I'm spaced out. I hear the next one is Cybertron Metroplex. That doesn't speak to me. But it will speak to some people, and I'm okay with it not speaking to me. Not everything needs to speak to me. Not every collector has to collect everything, right? That being said, I am glad to have this guy, even though I don't think he should have been a Titan. And we'll talk about that in a bit. In terms of the box, it's the schematic. It's Legacy over there. It's your typical. There's nothing much on the side other than more schematic. And on the back, it's literally, I'll turn it around here. Like, it's literally nothing. And this doesn't like to stay stood up. It is a giant two-sided sheet of instructions. That being said, I do find the size of this fairly manageable. Sometimes these are so huge and folded so many ways it's almost unmanageable, but this is pretty good. If you know Scorponok, you basically know this. But the only thing different is how the Tyrant Spear goes together and kind of where that incorporates. Speaking of the Tyrant Spear, last year, or I think it was last year, we got Fast Track to go with a deluxe fast track to go with Scorponok, but we also got a Generation Selects release of Black Rorichi, and that is basically a golden color version of fast track that goes with, you guessed it, blackzarak. He also leads kind of the gray ones, which is sort of cool. Mine has a stabilizer, but he had a Tyrant Spear mode, so you could put fast track or Black Rorichi in a Tyrant Spear mode, which is cool, but it hardly looks like the actual Tyrant Spear, which looks more like this. Yeah, man, like that's a big spear. Really big spear. I'm going to just take this out of it. This came in the box in 5 pieces. We have this piece down bottom, we have 2 shafts in the middle, and then we have 2 pieces up top. Now, a lot of people, and I was quite worried about this myself, a lot of people have said that they're 2 of the same piece here, which means they cannot connect together, which means you cannot make the Tyrant Spear. That's a shame. I hope that those people can find each other and really kind of help each other out. In terms of him holding it, I don't know if we're supposed to use either of these pegs right here. I feel like those are used for like other things, other modes, and that we're just supposed to grip his claw around it. It holds all right for pictures and stuff, but to say it's like stable in his claw, I don't find it particularly stable in his claw. Maybe if I held it in both claws though, I would. I like it. I dig it. I'm glad that he comes with it because, yeah, blackzarak should have the Tyrant Spear. There's no doubt about it. As is often the case with a Titan, things are difficult here to, you know, film and whatnot, so bear with me. But this is blackzarak in all of his beautiful, gorgeous glory. Now, besides for the Tyrant Spear, he does come with the shield piece over on his arm. This time it's in gold and black. He does come with two more of the shoulder double barrel blasters. You may notice like other ones back here. These are 3D printed ones. We'll talk about those a little bit later in a different mode. The head, certainly a new head sculpt. But before we get into like kind of talking about this big Titan and how he is with other Titans, and eventually we'll see like my ultimate Decepticon base and stuff. Just a couple of notes about the guy's size. So we know that Scorponok was gigantic. He was the size of Fortress Maximus. He was huge. But when he was destroyed, or Megazarak was destroyed and rebuilt as blackzarak, he was much smaller. In fact, he kind of like lined up in size more with this guy, Grand Max. Now, there have been Titan releases of Grand Max. This is Toy World's version, Grand. And you can see he's much smaller. Even this guy's a bit small. He should be about the size of God Ginrai, basically. He's not the size of Fort Max. And if you look at the like animation and whatnot, pardon me, there's a lot of animations where blackzarak is basically the size of Overlord. Again, he shouldn't really be a Titan, but I'm okay with it. One of the main reasons that I wanted this guy though, honestly, one of the things that I was really excited about with him and whatnot was because I do have Overlord. And I do have now this guy. And I have Bruticus and Menasor, and I have Triptychon, and I have, who else? Predaking and Abominus. That might be it. I don't know if I've missed anyone, but they are all the minions and 9 generals from Transformers Zone of this guy, Violin Jiger. This is my custom, although he doesn't want to stand there today. This is my custom Violin Jiger, kind of down at the feet of our lad here. So yeah, I mean, I was using Scorponok. I've shown that lineup. I'm not showing that lineup here today. I didn't want to take all of them down. I do want to be half quick here if I can. So I want him to go with that. In terms of coloration for the guy, this is pretty darn good. So starting from the feet going up, these black sections in on his toes, they should probably be gray or silver. Then coming up the front of his leg, that's pretty accurate with the yellow and the purple. Like, it looks good. Up to the knee, right here, this section, it's correct, but I feel like the gray here is a little darker than it should be. It should be lighter. Going up the hips here, this should all be black. We should have the silver that's on the sides here should also be kind of here on the front. Then we have like his chest section. All of that should be gold, with this being the only like thing that's not gold, and it should be higher up on the chest. But you know what? Like, I'm okay with this. Like, I don't have any... I'm fine with this being broken up because it adds like an interesting look and dynamic to him. The shield is on the right arm. The gold blasters are correct. The red Tyrant Spear is correct. Even these red circles are correct. We don't need to have the silver, but I'm glad it's there. In terms of the head for the guy, like, that's about as perfect of a head sculpt as you would want for blackzarak, to be honest with you. I don't think the purple is necessarily supposed to be there. I'm not 100% sure about that now, though. Maybe the purple is there, but I don't really remember seeing it. But I mean, I could have just not seen it. I'm not gonna lie, this is pretty darn close to perfect. I think it's about as perfect as we're gonna get. I'm going to give it A 9.75. I can't quite give it a 10 because there are a few stylized differences here, but definitely a 9.75. The only thing that kind of bugs me is I wish the gold used on him was the same gold that was used on Black Rorichi. Black Rorichi's gold is more of like a cool gold, if you will. This is more of a warm gold, if that makes any sense. Like, that's just my take on it. Maybe nobody else cares. So 9.75. In terms of the articulation and the transformation is, like I said, basically the same as Scorponok. That was probably somewhere around a 9 or 10. It's a really good transformation. It's about the same here. And in terms of the articulation, well, we'll run through it there now. We're going to take this Tyrant Sphere out of his hand. And we do have a head that can go left and right. No up or down. These earpieces, they move as well. Then we have the arms. And again, they can go forward, they can go all the way around, right? We have an elbow swivel, or I guess a bicep swivel. We have an elbow to 90 degrees. These two finger claws are individually articulated, as is the inner claw here. I still wish that this could move a little bit. We do have a waist on the guy, I'm pretty sure. I just have to get up. I just have to hold him to do it. Yeah, we have a waist on the guy, which is always appreciated. Arm goes all the way out to the side, of course. Leg all the way out, you know, way out to the side. And this down. Leg can go all the way back, really, and all the way forward, really. Golly, we have a swivel at the thigh, and we have that super deep knee, and we have ankle tilt. Again, like, I don't think that there's anything here that I could really want more than what it is, other than this little section. It's pretty darn fantastic. I'm gonna say that he's still like a 9.75, so, you know, so close to perfect. Just that one thing, just if this could hinge out, that's just one gripe, and that's stretching, right? Love the head sculpt, we'll look at that in a little bit. Here he is, so a 9.75 and 9.75. The transformation, honestly, is great. It's about a 9.75. Overall, the guy is almost perfect, right? Here he is next to my Decepticon Base Titans. I need to say that because I also have Devastator, but of course, he's smaller than these guys a little bit, and he's a combiner, and I didn't bother to get Predaking. But this is what I was going for. Like, I'm happy to have 3 of these because now I can do a really impressive Decepticon base, because for the Autobots I had Metroplex, Fort Max, and Wei Jiang's Ultimate Guard for my Omega Supreme. So I could do a big Autobot base. Now I can do an equally big and impressive and foreboding Decepticon base. You know, in terms of side Titans, so to speak, I have the Ark and I have Devastator. So that's enough Titans, man. That's all I need, right? I'm good. Now a lot of people might say, hey, you should have Grand Max. No, I explained that earlier. I don't really want this guy to be a Titan, but I mean, that's the way they release him. It is what it is. I like this. And to be fair, having this guy in the middle, like, there's something that feels like he's a leader. Like, there's something that feels a little more stand-out-ish to me about him. And I don't know if it's the fact that there's no purple, I don't know if it's the coloration, I don't know what it is, but there's something more regal here. So we're going to zoom in a little bit here on the heads. I love both of them. I really do. I think the blackzarak one is more intimidating. It looks bigger and it just looks more foreboding. Pardon the little Titan Master body being open there, as silly as this one looks, but that head kept falling over without it. So, like, cool, I guess. I'm glad that they're 2 very distinct molds. Speaking of that little tiny Titan Master, I believe they're the exact same thing. A little bit more paint on the blackzarak one because of the purple face and the red visor. Again, to transform these, you just open them out. You get in a seated position. The arms are on ball joints and move a little bit. I think I might like the blackzarak one better, but The regular Lord Zarak one is honestly, like, it's still pretty fantastic. And here we have both of the Zarak heads, the head units transformed into the robot mode. The transformation is exactly the same, really, for the most part anyway. I do find this one smoother and better, the original, over this one. This one has much more paint. There's a lot of, like, the plastic that is supposed to be the color is the color on this one. And this is the way it looks behind. I think there's a way you can rotate that in, but I don't tend to fiddle with that. The top of the head comes off here. In this case, there's a visor up under the helmet, and when you kind of lift the helmet and forehead out, like this one like this folds out, and I guess you could do something else with it, but when you pick like this whole top of the head off, and you want to cover the face here, this is folded in as like a brow or a forehead. You need to get this piece out, and it's a nuisance. I also find, because of all of the size of the side of the head and these things, that getting the arms out is a little tougher, but that might be because I do find these feet tab in up under the chest here in these two pegs way tighter. Way tighter. Neither's bad by a stretch of the imagination. This guy as a head has an eye patch. This guy doesn't. The eye patch is an homage to him being a minion of Violent Jiger here. And just so you know, like, Violent Jiger's gone off screen. He's a Voyager, so this is like a big deluxe basically. Maybe it's slightly bigger than deluxe. And he has the battle damaged chest from, of course, when he was destroyed as Scorponok. Just for interest's sake as well, if you're wondering, like, well, maybe the small version, he could scale with Grant if he's not supposed to be a Titan. Again, not really. Grant is basically a leader size, about the same size as Overlord, and you can see again, just from here without even having to pan up, that this guy comes up to about Grant's upper thigh, waist area. So that's not quite going to work. In terms of the articulation for the guy, left, right, with the Titan Master, it wiggles. The arms, they can still go all the way around. We have a very deep elbow. We have a bicep. Ooh. We have a bicep swivel. Nothing at the wrist except for going in for transformation. We do still have a waist, which is nice. The leg, it goes forward. The leg goes back. Knee to 90 degrees. Thigh swivel and ankle tilt. So again, like, pretty much everything I could want, this head unit to do, right? I loved it here. Still love it here. Big fan. Then we can get into the modes of the big boy, with the first one being this. And so we have our first alt mode, which of course is the Scorpion mode. We take the Tyrant Spear apart. You can see part of the spear is here with one of the pieces on it. The other two pieces are up here on the tail, which I like. I like that the stinger is made bigger because of that. I think that that's really cool. The other part of the Tyrant Spear is on the other side. You'll notice we have these 3D printed, I don't know what we call them, shoulder blasters, I guess. These came from Grimlock Gone. They just peg in, but they can move up and down, and if you turn them, they can move left and right as well. So it's kind of a nice design, actually. So I dig it. The shoulders, they can still move up and down. The claws, they can move like in and out and whatnot. The little legs and feet, they all move just like Scorponok's did. He rolls tremendously well, actually. Really well. I'm actually very impressed with that. So all in all, I'm happy with this. I'm just going to show a top-down view because there is something I want to mention. Take note, if you will, of the scorpion head there. That's why they have that flap that's like a forehead eyebrow, because it does need to come out. It goes down, it covers his face in this mode. But like, all in all, pretty dandy mode if you ask me. Not hard to get here. The hardest part is getting that face flap out, if I'm being perfectly honest about it. By the way, I'm not sure you can see all of this, but really quickly, yeah, he could do the two-headed dragon mode. I showed this better with Scorponok, if I'm not mistaken. And yes, by rights, the head should be taken off, but yeah, he can pull it off. And finally, and boom, yes, we have the final mode. The the biggest mode, the baddest mode. This is the base mode, if you will, or I like to call this the Citadel mode. I feel like that more than a base, more than a city, that this is a place where Decepticons go for answers. That this is a place where you go to find the Decepticon truth, as it were. Like, I feel like this could be the centerpiece of Kaon. You know, that's the regalness that this has. I took the Spear 3D printed shoulder cannons and put them there, but honestly, you could take bits and pieces of Black Rorichi, for example, and use the ports and pegs all over this guy to put all of those parts in, if you're so inclined. I do like that the spear can go on the side. It just adds a little more, I don't know, like it adds spires or something to the like buildings, right? We have our main roadway and our ramps and stuff coming out here. I love it. I think it's great. I really, really do. The hardest part of all of the transformation here is that flap that's on the, I'll say, crown of the head. Otherwise, everything is buttery smooth. I said 9.5 or 9.75 when I started this. I still mean 9.75. I think it's tremendous. That only leaves us with one last thing to do before we get out of here, and that last thing is going to be a look, as promised, of my ultimate Decepticon base. And so we come to the end of the line with my ultimate Decepticon base. I'm going to try and show this. And of course, this is only one configuration of many possible configurations. I've included everything that I have that I know of that creates a base mode. You can't really see Double Dealer too well there next to Sky Shadow or Black Shadow, if you will. And then I come right over to Scorponok. Like I said, this is one of many configurations. You know, this one is more an end-to-end one, but I've certainly kind of amalgamated them, like, you know, with their back to each other, that sort of thing. But as I back up here, just to try and give you like a final overview, like that, man, makes me pretty happy. I know this isn't the ideal way to see it, and some laundry in the way there, but you get the idea. You know, you get the idea. There's a lot here now. This feels every bit as formidable as my Autobot base. Yeah, I'm happy. This is the icing on the cake for blackzarak. And here we are once again, and here he is. So, first things first, I wish that he was the size of about Toy World's Grant, because he should be about the size of Overlord or God Ginrai. And he's not. He's a Titan. He's always been seen that way. Same with Grand Max, even though Grand Max is also a lot smaller than Fort Max. I'd hoped that the head unit of blackzarak would match up better with Grand, but it doesn't. Such is life. It's not going to be perfect. That being said, I don't really think that there's another one that would fit my bill. Maybe that old, like, Cybertron Dark Scorponok, like, that kind of looks like blackzarak. I could see the argument for that. However, when I looked at my Autobot base, I realized I had Fortress Maximus, I had Metroplex, and I had Omega Supreme, or a version thereof. And a lot of little kind of odds and ends pieces to go with that to make it something special and epic. Then I also realized that my Decepticon base was a little bit lacking. It's still good, but lacking compared to my Autobot one. So I'm very glad to have this, if for nothing else, but for that reason of adding to my ultimate Decepticon base. Plus, Season 4 of Universal Collision. I'd like to have the Titans on both sides kind of evened out, so to speak. We'll sort of see kind of how that goes sometime down the road. It's an excellent mold. I'm not going to be in for a price hike. I'm not going to be in for characters that don't really mean anything to me. It makes no sense. I don't have the space in my home, and I just don't have the interest in higher prices for Titan. I've said for a while that I feel like Titan is pretty much getting to a point where it's becoming impractical. Maybe not in the US yet, but I think it's inching that way in Canada. I feel very happy to have this. I feel very happy with my Titan collection. On both sides, the Autobots and the Decepticons. If this is indeed my swan song, if this mold is my swan song, whether you have Scorponok or blackzarak or both, It's a tremendous mold. It's a really fun Titan class offering, really solid Titan class offering, and honestly, at an overall score of a 9.75, I would call that quite a success. Let me know what you think about blackzarak, or Scorponok for that matter. I appreciate you guys coming by, giving me some of your extremely valuable time. I do know how important it is to you. If you're in a position to help the channel to grow, you can use the donate link. You can check us out on Patreon. You can see what we offer to you through Spring, or of course you can hit the join button right here on YouTube and become a channel member. Don't forget that somehow, some way, each and every single day, man, you do make a difference. Whether you realize it or not, you absolutely do make a difference. And I look forward to the next time that you and I get together to have another visit, either the live streams on Thursday nights at the stop motion premieres, or the old fashioned way right here inside the videos.